See, we forget. See, we got to remind me. I forget. Shame on
That's
me.
classic. That's classic. All right. I'm going to go back a slide because we're recording, right? So be patient with me, folks. I'll make up the time. But I do just want to say, I want to get this thank you to Paul in the recording because you've been gracious enough to give all of us an opportunity to do an in-depth look at our Google business profiles and our review and reputation management. And while I don't want to speak for you, like I said, mostly because you're like right there. But I think you've really recognized how critical this is, especially for any independent business owner, especially independent agents and brokers. We all live and die by our reputation, and it's critical for us because our reputations are online these days, whether we like it or not. And all of us seem to be great in person, but some of us have yet to figure out that pesky internet thing. And mostly because that internet thing keeps changing every time you blink. So it's important that we can manage both in person and in line. And I'm going to get into that. So we've got the top 10 ways to use your Google business profile and reviews to attract customers. It's going to be a 3-part series, and it is an educational series presented by Alignable and Paul. And thank you for having us in your educational series. So, like I was saying, we get a chance to go deep thanks to Paul. So more than just like a standard 30-minute presentation or even an hour where you get cut off at the beginning and you get cut off at the end. We're going to get a chance to really go deep into this. And we've broke it down into 3 component parts. I, of course, hope that you can join us and feel free to bring a friend to all 3 of the sessions. It's totally acceptable to jump in after we get started. We're going over the 10 ways to use your Google profile to and your reviews to attract customers. And the 3 parts that we're going over, you can see in the slide. Today, we're going over the Google business profile. And of those 10 tips, I'm going to give you the first 5 today. We're going to start at the beginnings and start at the basics. We're going to go through. On the 9th, when we get back together on Tuesday the 9th, so a week from today, we're going to go deep on review and reputation management. We'll touch on that because it is part of your business profile. So we'll touch on it today, but we're really going to go deep on review and reputation management in our next session. And then the 3rd week, April 16th, we're going to put it all together and let you know how you can stand out from your competition. We're also going to add in a little bit of news there as well. There's some new information coming out from Google, some beta testing that they're doing. So I'll give you some specific information about that. So first, let's review what we're going to go over today. We're really going to talk about how you can transform your business into a real money-making machine. And isn't that kind of why we all got into business? You can do that by using your Google business profile. We're going to start with the basics, and sometimes Google doesn't always make it easy. They give you step-by-step instructions to follow, but it's good to have somebody on your side that can kind of tell you a little bit about this free resource, because as basic as people make it sound, it's not always as basic to the people that are listening. So I want you to feel free to put questions in the chat. And Paul, you can either, bring those up at the end, or if they're urgent, you can bring them up as I'm talking as well. So what we're going to go over today, those 5 steps, and then we're going to give you a little bit of a bonus. So we're going to go over what is a Google profile. We got to start with the basics. Why do you need a Google profile? How do I get a Google profile? How do I manage a good Google profile? Because you don't want to just manage a Google profile. You want to manage a good one, right? And then why reviews are crucial for businesses, because they're a crucial part of that profile. And then at the end, we'll give you a little bonus as well, because people always ask me, well, I'm working with Google and getting my Google reviews situated, but do I need reviews on other platforms? And we'll get to that question towards the end. So that's what we're covering today, to give you a little FYI. All right. So Paul, thank you for the introduction. I'm not going to read you this whole slide. There's a lot of stuff there, and I've done a lot. I've been around for a while. So, um, key points are I've been there and I've done that, and now I'm committing to helping business owners. That's really what you need to key in on. I'm Donna O'Leary. I'm from Bold Endeavors. As Paul said, I left the corporate world in a role as a CIO, which is a chief information officer, which you don't need to know what that is. It's just a fancy way of saying I managed huge statewide operations and their technology. My firm now provides a wealth of advanced digital marketing services, but what I found was as a certified review lead partner, so many business owners needed to get their marketing foundation in order, and their Google business profiles are the best way to start. Because everybody running a business needs to increase their customer activity, and absolutely no one seems to have time to deal with it, at least consistently. So today I'm sharing this information at Paul's request so that we can help you really make your business shine and make sure that you have a solid Google business profile. I'm not going to read the rest of the slide to you. Suffice to say, I've got a wealth of experience in technology. I've done a lot of C-level management, like Paul said, strong background in project management. But really, I'm using all of that knowledge in all of my work on Google business profiles and review management, all of which are crucial for business owners to help you increase your customer activity. That's why you're here, and that's what I'm going to do to help you. Okay. So first things first, I wanted to make sure we told you what a Google business profile was. A lot of people already have them, and if you do, this is review. And for folks that are watching the recording, you can just fast forward to this if you already have one. But this will give you a brief overview. The reason that this is so important is first things first, everybody wants to start with Google. Google has your customers, so that's where you start. And if you do not have a profile yet, a Google business profile, or if you have a friend or a colleague or a relative that has a business and they don't have one yet, I implore you, run, do not walk, and get one and start managing it as soon as humanly possible. There's an ancient proverb that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. Maybe you've heard that quote, right? The second best time is now. This is your now. This is your moment to make sure you're planting that tree, that you get a Google business profile for yourself and your business. You will definitely be grateful that you've done that. So first things first, I wanted to go over some of the old tech terminology because some of it's still being bandied about. It's been a couple of years, but just to let you know. So the old name here you'll see was GMB or Google My Business. We were talking about this since 2014. So a lot of people, it's just in their vernacular. So it just out of habit, they say it. The new name is Google Business Profile or GBP. And I'm going to look at the slide when I say that because I'm a little dyslexic. So your Google Business Profile is a signal. It's not just a name change from Google, but it's a shift in how they're managing it. They're putting the ownership back in your hands as the business owner, and they've centralized everything. So you don't need an app, you don't need special processes, and everything is in one location for you to manage your business profile. It has never been easier, and it's great to do it. And the way that I want you to think about your Google business profile is, first of all, this red line is here for a reason. Your Google profile is free. You should take advantage of it. Think about it. If I was giving you free office space in the busiest, most traffic spot, say it was like a mall or a main street, wouldn't you take it? Google's business model is on the traffic. So the traffic that's walking through that mall or walking through that main street, they need you. They want good, verified, great service businesses to be doing Google business profiles. So yes, people always say, well, are there any strings attached? it's free. I don't trust it. Well, you should trust it. There's no strings attached. Google needs you and needs businesses. That's how they operate. And yes, you may ascend and decide to buy more from Google, but that's not mandatory in any way, shape, or form. You don't have to do that. Many people do master their profiles and then they move on to do pay-per-click, or you might see PPC. That's the Google ads that you can buy. You may do that in the future, but it's in no way necessary, and your profile is actually free. So you should take advantage of it. Okay. So what is your Google business profile? Let's take a look at both strategy and tactics. Okay. So we should all be thinking of and managing our Google business profiles as our online office. It literally is your digital showroom, your digital office. We need to treat it as such. It is the place that people get to know you, and they get to know you before they call you, before they visit you. So it's important that your profile is filled out completely. When I say completely, what do I mean exactly? So this is all the information, all the demographics and contact. This is your tactics, right? So this is all the information that you're going to put on your Google profile. So you've got things like address, phone, hours. Google will actually even help you with holiday impacts. So how does that look? So over here, this is tactically what you need to enter. Over here, this is a snapshot of what your profile actually looks like. This is a verified profile for Detroit Voltage. It's the example that that Google actually uses to set up your business profile. They feature them on that page. It's your profile is always going to give your star rating and your number of reviews. Um, it's also going to give all of this information. So all of this information is all over here. So you got address, phone, hours, holiday impact. Here's your address. Here's your phone. Here's your hours. Here's your holiday impact. It all gets displayed. And it's displayed well for you. I took this screenshot specifically because I knew Easter might be a change. You put your hours in here, your standard hours. For me, for my hours, I have Monday through Friday hours. I'm open on Saturdays, but I have different hours on Saturdays. So I put the different hours in there, and I'm closed on Sundays, right? So all of that information's in there and people can look at that readily. For retail organizations, they might be the busiest on weekends and they might be open on Sundays. People are going to need to know that, and they're going to look here and be able to see that. They're also going to be able to notice, and I didn't have to do anything on mine, neither did Detroit Voltage. Google's going to volunteer to the customer that's looking at it, like, hey, Easter might change these hours, because they know that it's standard. So that's a nice feature to have. And then you've got the buttons up here. That's going to have your website. Here's your website. You've got directions. That's going to bring you right to turn by turn directions in your map, which is awesome. And you can click on a call. So let's get into this from a little bit of a different perspective. Okay, so if you notice, this is the same list, right? Same information. This is what your Google business profile is. Tactically, this is your demographics, but this is the view that people see when they're on Google Maps or they're on their mobile. So if they have a smartphone, this is what they're seeing. It's just important for you to know that there's two different views. People are always going to be able to get to the same information though. People have choices and they're finding you online, even when they're on the go. They have a cell phone in their pocket or their purse and they're Googling you. There is a reason that the dictionary has Googling as a word. People are finding you and they're bringing up your profile. So it's important that they see this. And it's important, I tell people, when you fill out your profile, you really want to have the 3 C's. What are those? You want your profile to be complete, compelling, and current. And all of those are equally important to make sure you've got all the information in there. And I'm going to get into updates and Q&A in a second, and I'll show you just how those work. But I just wanted you to see the different display. So you see you're always going to see the rating, you're always going to see the stars, you're always going to see the number of reviews, and you can click here to get deeper, you can click here to get photos. It's just a different bit of display, but people are always going to have that information in front of you, and it's important that you have it complete, compelling, and current so that they can get all of the information that they need, because this is your reputation and this is your digital store or your digital office. So we talked about questions and answers on the last slide. I wanted to be able to give you some additional information here. So when Google made their changes, they really intend for your Google business profiles to be, they're meant to be interactive, right? People are supposed to be able to call you and ask questions, and it is your digital store. That's what the intention is. That's why they're giving you ownership, so that you can always have the latest and the greatest information out there. And Google is encouraging that you do that. All right. So you need to provide a means for your customers to learn more and interact with you. One of the ways that you do that is through questions and answers. Now, this is going to be different for all different industry segments. Some people are going to get a lot of questions, and it's important that you go through and answer them. Some industries, they might not get as many. So it really depends, and I can't answer that specifically for you, but it'll depend on your audience and it'll depend on your industry segment. Okay. But I wanted to show you what that looks like. So this is Detroit Voltage. And when you have question and answers, that's part of your profile when you keep scrolling down. And you click on this, see all questions. And when you click on that, this is what pops up. So somebody asked the question, does this company do free estimates? And the owner came back and said, yes, thanks for contacting us. We provide free estimates if you don't require troubleshooting/diagnostics, right? So by the way she posed the question, it's obvious I don't think she expected the owner to answer it. So she was probably very pleasantly surprised when the owner actually came in and answered the question for her. This is what Google intends, and this is just one of the areas that you can engage your customers and prospective customers and ask questions. And this is available 24/7. So if I wake up at midnight and have a question and put it in there, you can answer that in the morning when you open. So keeping going on that, on what is your Google business profile, and how it's meant to be interactive. This is an opportunity to use the call now button, right? So when you provide updates of information, which Google heavily encourages, and we'll get into that in a second, this gives you an opportunity to interact more with your customers. That's not only a positive for the customer, but that's a positive for you, because those are buying signals from your customers. And that gives them an opportunity to actually reach out and contact you. It's great to have engagement from your customers from our perspective, but it's even greater when they have an opportunity to engage and they're an active buyer, right? So what does that look like? So here, this is exactly what it looks like on your profile. You're going to provide an update. When it first shows up, it's going to be small like this, right? And it'll show up, especially if it's on mobile, it's going to be even smaller, right? And they're going to get part of the picture and they're going to get part of the title. When they click on it, it's going to get larger and they're going to see the full update. This is an opportunity for them to learn more. Now I can read the whole title and I can start reading exactly what you updated. I could have very specific information about my services or my products that are provided here. They're going to click more and get more information, but more importantly, they can click call now and actually call me, because I might really be in the market for an EV charging station. I might have just bought a Tesla and I need one of these in my garage. And in my search, I found Detroit Voltage. And now I've clicked on this. Maybe I see the picture. It looks great. I see the title. maybe I don't even need to read it. I'm just going to click and call now and ask them information, right? So this is great information to have for your prospective buyers. So now we're moving into the why. Why do I need a Google business profile? Well, literally, it is your marketing foundation, right? And one of the things that I've said over and over again when people ask me is that Google shakes your customer's hand before you ever get a chance to. But the cool thing about that is they might be shaking their hand first, but we, as the business owner, get to frame that interaction. Google gives us the authority and the ability to provide all that reputational information and all of that detail in our profile. When we're talking about a complete, compelling, and current profile, that's all information that we're providing to Google, and we get to set the stage for that interaction. When you think about it, do you need a reputation? Do you need a store or an office? Are you hanging a shingle somewhere? A lot of folks might be independent agents or brokers. Like myself, you might work out of your home. You are your reputation. You may have a business card, a personal brand, maybe a magnet or a wrap for your car, or maybe it's just you. Again, we're looking at both strategy and tactics here. And sure, we went over the nuts and bolts of like what you're actually putting into your profile, that specific information. But what you really want to think about is, what is your reputation? What is your profile? What do you want people to know about you? What do you want them to care about you? And how do you care about the people you serve? And how do you serve your customers? Maybe even why you serve your customers in some instances. All of this can be interwoven into your online digital profile. And quite honestly, it should be, because this is your first impression. Remember what I said, Google's shaking their hands first, but you get to tell them what they're going to hear. So this is your foundation. It's where people meet you. And it's famously called, I don't think I coined it, but this is your first impression. A lot of people think that their first impression is when they're eye to eye to people. And Google has made a real difference in that. Your digital showroom and your virtual office visit is where they're meeting you first. So I'm not going to go real deep on this one. Suffice to say that your first impression is huge, and it happens online before you ever see the person. This pyramid, I've taken from a whole other presentation that stands on its own. That's a whole hour-long presentation in its own. So I'm not going to go over all of this. But what I've circled here on the bottom, this marketing foundation, is really, really important. What I've found over the years is that some people have bits and pieces of a marketing foundation, but they really need a complete marketing foundation. In order to be truly successful at other marketing efforts, you need a solid foundation. So, for example, I've had people approach me where they wanted to do Facebook ads or some other type of advertising, and they wanted to spend a good deal of money, but they didn't have their reviews in order. And when I pointed that out, I told them, that's great that you want to do this advertising. That's really this type of advertising, right? Where you're doing ads up here. You need this part of your pyramid done first. You need a stable foundation. And the reason is, if you're running advertisements, but then people Google you and you have a 3.2 star rating and 6 reviews, they're probably going to be driven to your competition. So all of that money you're spending, will some of those ad work? Yeah, some of them might work, but a lot of them, you're actually driving people to your competitors. And we don't want to see you doing that. So we want to see you get your foundation set up first. Preferably you do this before you start other marketing efforts, but just like a foundation in a house, when you found your foundation has some holes in it, you're going to fix it right away because you know it's critical. So the other thing that I do want to review on this slide is this piece where we have this image that says customers need to. This is actually a snapshot. This is the back of my business card. This is literally what my business card says. And customers need to know, like, and trust you. We all know that. We've all heard that before. How does that relate to your online presence and why we need a Google business profile? This actually shows and tells you how. Because in order to know you, people need to be able to find you online because that's where they're looking for you, right? In order to like you, people need to see a detailed profile that people can learn why they should like you. That's where that compelling piece comes in. And in order to trust you, people need to see great reviews. They need to know and they need to see and be able to view what other people are saying about you, what other independent third parties are saying about you. Because it's one thing when we're saying something about ourselves, but it's a whole other thing when somebody else says how awesome you are. And that's what you can do. So let me go on to the next one. All right. So importantly, how do I get a Google business profile? Paul, this is a good time to put that link in the chat, if you don't mind, please.
And I have put it in the chat, but I will put it in the chat again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not monitoring the chat, so I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Now, don't everybody click on this right off the bat, right? Though, because you're going to want a little intro before you're like clickety clicking and going through uh going through and setting up a Google profile, right? So, Google does make it easy for you. I will tell you that. They're going to give you all the prompts. I do heavily recommend that you review the Google instructions before starting. Especially like it's one thing if you're going to start today, but a lot of people listen to something and then time goes by and they go to use this link in a month or 3 months or 6 months or longer, and Google can change things. And information on the web can be dated. So you really want to get information from the source, from Google, and follow their prompts. Now, Google makes it pretty darn easy, right? So you go to this link, you click on the Manage Now. This is actually a screenshot of what you'll get when you visit that. And then you just go through and follow the prompts. You do need a Google account. You enter your business name, and then you follow just the Google prompts, right? And they'll give you step by step. You fill in all of the details. I would love to be able to tell you exactly the steps, but it differs for each business and each type of business. So it's very customized to you. And depending on which prompt you choose, it's going to determine what that next step is. So it is important to choose the right categories. So you might want to research your competition a little bit and see what they're using and get some of those best practices. But like I said, Google makes it very, very easy and you just go step by step. It's just like setting up their email, very similar. You just go step by step. The one thing that I do want to tell you about verification, right? So you see this thing, you complete your verification and then you wait for your verification to be approved. There's some places on the web that say verification is going to be approved in days. I have found it usually takes a minute. So I wouldn't necessarily, like if you're in a hurry, this is not one of those hurry things, right? And there's also multiple verification types. So you'll read that, there's phone or text verification, there's email verification, there's a live video call. You can do it by mail, or there's a video recording. Almost all of the verifications these days are with a video recording. And it's not just any video recording. You're not going to grab your phone and do a video and send it to Google. You're going to be in their interface and click their red button and do that video. And it's important, I recommend, you'll see different things on the internet that say that that video can be 5 minutes long. I suggest that you keep it under 2 minutes. They'll tell you everything that they want to see in the video, give them everything that they're requesting. If you do everything that they ask for, then you shouldn't have any trouble with getting this approved. So that's just it in a nutshell, step by step. So let's go on to the next step. So this is where it really gets fun, right? So now, phew, okay, gone through the process. You've got your Google business profile. It's been verified. That means it's now going to show up in the Google map and in your Google searches, both for you and the public. Now what? Well, now is when you want it complete, compelling, and current. Now you want to get all your details in there, right? How you do that. So if you've had a Google account in the past, you see like this is me. So you just see me, you've got your little dots here. When you click on this menu opens. Now, as you can see, my little scroller, this is down a bit. So you scroll down and you see your business profile. You click on your business profile and you get this screen. You can go through, you can edit your profile, you can edit your products, you can read your reviews, you can ask for more reviews, you can make sure your photos are updated. You can turn on messaging so that people can message you directly. This is one of my clients. They chose not to turn messaging on, which is why this profile strength is a little less than perfect. Perfect would be a green circle. But you have all of these items. This is how you actually manage your profile. So a little bit deeper in the managing, and this is an insurance agent that is in my specific area. I don't know him at all. I just did a quick Google search because that's what we do, and came up with this. I just wanted to give you a couple of tips on how you manage your Google profile. We've talked about the 3 C's. Got to have that. That's like the cost of admission, right? That's your cover charge. Your complete, compelling, and current. You want to get all your details in there. It's also important to really be thoughtful about the images that you're providing. So high resolution, it should be crisp and clear. It should be descriptive of what you do. The lighting should be great. You want to get reviews. When you get reviews, you want to respond to the reviews. You want to choose the right categories and be specific about those. And you want to post often. That's your current, right? And you need to be consistent. One of the best ways to do this, analyze your competitors, see what they're doing. Take a look at what other people are doing. This particular person has a 4.8 star rating and 135 reviews. That's not bad, right? Got some decent pictures. This is a little bit of an older update, but this is an update that was provided and it's specific. That's a compelling picture. That's great. Draws you right in. So, take a look at what others are doing and see how that works for you and what you should be doing. It's a great way to model. You can also see some bad examples on what you don't want to do. If it's not something that would make you click, that's definitely not something that you want to do. Okay, so this is one of my clients. It's a motorcycle festival. It's a little bit of a different uh, operation or business, but it gives you a solid basis and shows you some of the things that that are in a profile, right? So the 2 things that I wanted to demonstrate in this, because this is really how you manage a profile, but you need to know what your viewers or your public, your potential customers and your current customers are seeing. So over here, this is your public view. This is your Google business profile and what everybody is going to see, right? And we spoke about the strategies and tactics and making sure that this is all filled out. Great. So you've got that. This is, if you see down here, only managers of this profile can see this. So I'm only seeing this because I'm designated as a manager because this is one of my clients, right? So other people aren't going to see this. Other people are not going to be able to edit your profile. So you don't have to worry about that, right? They're just going to see this piece. This is where you're going to edit your profile and provide very specific information. One of the first things you're going to want to concentrate on is a good cover photo. People are always going to look at your star rating and your number of reviews, but what really pulls them in is this cover photo. It should be descriptive of your business, and it should be an example of what that business is. So this needed to have a motorcycle in it. It's a motorcycle festival. The backdrop of this picture, that's actually where the headline bands play. And that's one of the big features that they're looking to attract. So it's important to have that as well. The only thing that would make this better is if it had a person in it. People like faces and they like to see people. That can really pull people in. But it's important to have high quality, high resolution, good lighting picture for your cover photo. So you should take a look at what your cover photo is. And if it's not those things, you should make an adjustment. Okay. So other ways that that you can correctly manage a good business profile, right? So you've got the basics done. That's awesome. Now what? Now update, update, update. Um, if you're a business or you run a business, and if you have an office or a shop, you're never going to stop, say, cleaning it or posting or talking about your offers and your services. And you're probably changing all the time. You know, oh, I've got a new service, or I've got a new spring thing, or oh, there's this new service available. That's all information that you are probably talking to people about. If you're talking to people about it, if there's a change in your business, you should have that as an update. That's what keeps that, we talked about complete, compelling, and current. That's what keeps this current is your updates, right? So we know that our Google Business Profile is our online version of our office. Think of it as another location. It's just a virtual location. And it markets your reputation everywhere for you, literally. And it does it 24/7 and talks about everything you're doing. So give it the right information and it can work for you while you're sleeping. That's a pretty cool offer, right? So this is my Google Business Profile. So these are updates that I did. And one of the questions that I get a lot is, did you create this content specifically for your profile? Well, no. And would I or should I create content specifically for my profile? Probably not. I wouldn't, I don't. I always look to repurpose content so that I can use it in multiple locations. Just make sure you follow Google's rules. And I'll get into that in a second. But it's important to have these be unique and have them customized for your business, but it's also good that you don't have to create custom things just for your Google Business Profile. So in this case, these are, oops, sorry. So in this case, these are quote cards that I use on my social media. I use all over the place. I made sure that I took one of those quote cards and I added it as an update to my profile. People can click on learn more. That's going to take them to my website. So that's one more opportunity to drive them to your website, which is additional information for your online presence. On this particular update, this is an image that we created that outlines our services. It talks about review management, digital marketing, social media management, funnels and websites. Whatever your particular bullets are or your elevator pitch is for the services that you provide. If there's a shorthand or a flyer or some specific information, get that out there on an update. And it's even better if you can do it, well, like, here's my spring special, or, here's my fall special, here's my summer special. Then you can kind of get that consistently refurbished and repurposed and get that information out there. So this gives all the general information. It also has a call now button where this is important. And I want you to understand when you're managing a good Google profile is This image does not have a phone number. That's purposeful, because if it had a phone number, Google would deny that. Google wants you to use the call now button. So if you're trying to upload something and has a phone number on it, you may get denied, and that is specifically why. Um, I just created a unique graphic for someone because of this very reason. Because it happens to the best of us, and you have to be careful and know the rules. You can't use an image that's copyrighted by somebody else. So if you're reusing a meme or a Getty image or something like that, they might not catch it the first time, but they'll eventually catch it and deny its use. So, um, all right. Okay. So, just to go through the rest kind of quickly, because I know we're running short on time already. Wow, time flies. Um, we talked about the fact that people, prospective customers, need to know, like, and trust you before they're doing business with you. That's because they're often making all of these pre-buying decisions online before they meet you, right? Um, So before they ever meet you, we said that Google's shaking their hand first. You get to give them your first impression. So it's huge, right? So what you're able to do here, and I want to kind of show you, is why reviews are crucial for your business. Think of it as a layer cake. It's the best example that I could see. We talked about the three C's. We mentioned that, right? Um, but it's all about your layers. You've got your three C's. You've got a great profile. That's awesome. It's wonderful that you've done that, right? Um, Layer into that, I'm now going to give you a free salesperson. They're going to work for you. They're going to generate leads, and they're going to send them to you. They're going to tell prospective customers exactly what you want them to say, exactly how you want them to say it. Plus, they're going to work for free of charge. And oh, by the way, they're not going to sleep. They're going to work 24/7, 365. That is what your Google business profile can do for you. And that's the power of having that complete, compelling, and current online digital presence in the form of a Google profile. That's what that does for you. So now you add in your reviews, right? So your layer one, just like we showed you the back of my business card, right? Um, Layer one, people find your profile and it looks great. That's awesome. Layer two, your profile's detailed, all the right details are working like a great salesperson for you. That's your profile. That's awesome, right? Layer three are your reviews. And from your reviews, this is like adding your best customers, your literally your raving fans, into your store, shopping shoulder to shoulder with your prospective customers. And they're not just shopping with them, they're volunteering great stories, one after another, about how awesome you are and how awesome your services are. This is not just you talking or a salesperson that you pay talking. These are independent third-party reviewers, and they're talking about how awesome you are. It doesn't get any better than this. And this is what reviews can do for you. And this is why it's so important, right? So just a little bit more on the why, and I'm not just going to tell you why, I'm going to show you why, right? So this is from this you can actually see right on my website. I feature it prominently. This is why reviews are crucial for your business. And this is directly from a survey. These aren't my words. There's nearly 100% of people searching for businesses online. Over 80% of those people read 2 or more reviews before buying. And if you think about your Amazon shopping, you're probably not surprised by that, right? Um, over in You shouldn't be surprised for that. And you should realize that our customers do the same thing. Same thing that we're doing on Amazon, they're doing to us, right? Over 90% of people trust online reviews as much as personal review, a referral, which is huge. And over 80% of people think that a review over 3 months old is too old, which, you know, um, think about it. Wouldn't you wonder, like, well, are they still in business? Are they open? Is it the same owner? They have lots of questions. And why wouldn't they? So that's the stats. I also, rather than just tell you, I want to show you, just like reviews are best when independent third parties tell others about you, I want you to review what other people are saying, right? So other people, like, I don't know if you're familiar with Marcus Lemonis. He has a TV show. He's a huge business investor. I've seen him speak. He's absolutely amazing. One of the things that he says is Google business profile reviews are proof points that convince prospects to choose you over the competition. That's huge. Seth, another marketing genius, talks about Google business profile reviews being the online handshake that starts the conversation with our customers. We've talked a lot about handshakes here, so that's crucial as well. Moving on, Daniel Pink, I don't know if you've read any of his books. He's a genius as well, does a lot of motivational speaking, and he's an author. He says reviews are the currency of trust in the digital marketplace and that we should invest wisely. Smart man. And then Chris Ducker, who is a personal branding specialist, says that reviews are our social proof of our brand's excellence. Earn them consistently and build trust. And I know a lot of people that are collecting reviews as if they're baseball cards, and for good reason. They should. And just like baseball cards increase in value, reviews increase the value of your business. So I think it's really important for us to do that. And I think it's important to kind of see these quotes from people. It's one thing if I tell you how great reviews are, but these are industry experts telling you how important reviews are. So our final bonus, do I need profiles with anybody other than Google? I hate when you get presentations and somebody says it depends, but this is one of those ice maybe moments. It really does depend on your specific industry, and I will show you why in a minute. But we really need to make sure that we understand that Google's the 800-pound gorilla and that they have our customers. So we go where the customers are. We don't recreate the wheel. So we always start with Google, but you might have another need. The example that I always use for people is if you were selling hot dogs in New York City, wouldn't you put your cart at Penn Station or Times Square? You wouldn't choose some random side street without a starving crowd. So there are some add-ons. Everybody should start with Google though. Let me show you why. So here is probably the best way I could explain other profiles, right? So do I need another profile? Well, it depends. I can't answer that for you because I don't know what your business is concentrating in. Where is your starving crowd? Everyone's on Google, so everybody starts there, but where else are they? A good example is the not.com. So if you're a wedding planner or a wedding photographer, you probably want to be on there. You can see here the not.com when you click on vendors, they have this is a screenshot of their website. You type in your vendor and then you can actually provide a review of that vendor. Now, I have a dear friend that's a drone photographer. That's his business. He does commercial and industrial kind of construction sites. Is he going to be on the knock.com? No, he's not a wedding photographer. He's just a photographer and he does drone photography. But if I'm a wedding photographer, I'm going to want to be on the not.com. That would be in addition to Google. It's not in place of. You would have to have both, right? And then you can look over here. If you're a doctor, you might want to look at health grades. If you're in real estate, Zillow, although that depends. You know, if if you've got a resort, you might want to look at TripAdvisor. Restaurants are very popular on Yelp. And Better Business Bureau could be for just about anyone. And they have the auspicious indication that they're currently the only site that does not require a login to leave a review. This means there's no barrier to reviewers getting in there. Now, I have a done for you service that I use myself. So my business uses it. There's a database of thousands of review sites. So I get asked all the time, do you have profiles on all of those? Absolutely not. First of all, I'm not going to do that to myself. It's way too hard and there's too much to manage, even with the done for you service. Next, most of those sites are not needed for my audience. I'm not a doctor, so I don't need to be on health grades. I'm not a wedding planner, so I don't need to be on the knot. It's not necessary for me. I chose a couple of key sites, Google being the first and most prominent. And then I respond to the other reviews after that. So this is just a review of our first slide. I'm not going to read it to you. It tells you what we went over today, and it tells you what we're going to go over in the next couple of weeks. So I just want to remind you, again, you can jump in anytime, bring a friend, come on in, the water's fine. We're going to get in even more detail next week when we talk about review and reputation management. And then the final week, we're going to pull it all together and determine how you can stand out from your competition. This is what we went over today, and I hope that you got some nuggets from that. I get a lot of questions. I want to say thank you first and foremost to both Paul and all of you. And I'll open the floor up for questions in a second here. The best thing that I can provide to everyone, though, is a customized analysis of your specific situation, because when we get to this point, I usually get a lot of questions that are very specific to a business owner's situation. So it's easiest to just give you a free report that's specific to your situation. My firm does provide a myriad of advanced digital marketing services, but we really specialize in giving you the easy button done for you service for review management, because that's what small businesses need, because everybody wants to increase your customer activity. So with that, we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. I just wanted to open it up to questions. Paul, did we have any questions that I should be addressing?
We have a bunch of questions and comments in the chat.
Okay.
So I've gotten into the practice of doing so many of these calls and hosting calls for other people that I put them on a Word document. So one, I should send you the Word document.
Okay, great.
There's
Do
that
we have
many
the,
questions, and you need to be connecting with some of these people here. And hi, Suzanne from Port St. Lucie.
okay.
Let me give you one question from each, but I'm going to send this to you as a Word document. Plus, it'll be in the chat. And I added your request at the end, call the
Okay,
action.
great. Yep, thank you.
I added your contact information once again, because with Dana and Nina especially, there should be a conversation happening outside this call between the three of you.
Okay, great. Happy to.
But Dana's first question was, does Google require a physical address for a business, not a home or post office box, to sign up for
Sure.
GPP or Google
So,
profile?
Google specifically does not allow a PO box. So, using me as an example, I have what's considered a PO box that is my address, even though it's like a Suite 100 or whatever. And I cannot use that address in my Google business profile. For folks that are working out of their home, while I provided my home address because Google needs that, I was set up as a service area, which is different. And I determined a specific service area to cover. So so we can hook up offline. I'm happy to talk about that. And I am looking through the chat just so that everybody knows. When I'm doing the presentation, I don't actually look at the chat because I can't split the difference there. So I apologize. But I will get back to anybody that had any specific questions, especially if you put your contact information in there. Anything else that we should go over?
Let me give
Paul?
you a couple of more quick ones, even though you've gone past my educational hour, but we still love you. There's so much good information here.
Sorry.
I love Nina's questions and comments. I work from home. I don't want directions. It's just me. I can't be responsible for questions and answers 24/7.
Uh,
So
yeah,
posting your home address in a world that is a little tilted.
yeah. Well, so my home address is not listed. I gave it to Google. So Google has it, but it's not listed on my profile. I wouldn't do that either. I understand the world that we live in. So so I have a specific service area, but not a specific address. And I apologize for going over. I had the timer on my slides. But I should have been looking at the clock. It's over here. So I
You're fine.
apologize.
I tease you. I tease you. I don't have back-to-back calls, which is a blessing. In one way. You also put in here, which I thought was very interesting. I want to be found by a topic and not by my business name. And that has been my problem for many years. Thoughts
Um,
on that using the Google business profile?
So we should probably connect offline. What I would say you do there is, that's where your categories are super important and having the correct categorization, for what your services are. And you usually have one main category and then some secondary categories, and they should be, specific to your business. So if you were a mechanic, some of your secondary categories might be oil change, for example, so that you can get more detail. That might help. One of the things that I didn't mention that I think is important is that all of this in your Google business profile helps you in your search. So having this good profile and good reviews, Google doesn't tell you what their algorithm is for obvious reasons. But there's estimates up to 20% that your Google business profile attributes to how you rate in the search engines and how you come up and how you're found. So that might help you.
Well, if you will be so kind as to stop sharing,
Sure.
that will enable us to see our thumbnails in a larger size. There are additional questions, and Sherry really needs to speak with you about a blocked website. But there
Ooh,
were a
okay.
lot of great questions. So clearly, it was an excellent presentation. And even from the time we've spent together, I have questions and I've learned so much more.
All right. Well,
So
that's
very well
so.
done. Very
Thank you.
well done. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to next week. So, one, I've encouraged everyone to put the information in the chat. I put your information in there again at the end, Donna, because some people had come in after the call had started.
Yep.
So I encourage you all to save the chat. So down in your chat area where you've been messaging, there should be 3 little dots. And if you click on those, you have an opportunity to save the chat. So I am now saving the chat. Next, Donna will remind me next week to stop recording before we go to questions and to start recording when we start in the beginning. Thank you, Donna, for
Yes.
reminding me.
I will get that.